Let me tell you what triggered this video. Last weekend, I was sitting in my favorite coffee shop, working on my content ideas when I overheard these girls in their early 20s planning their weekend. They had this massive group chat going, coordinating brunches, weekend plan, and shopping trips. And for a brief moment, I had this deep pang of what's wrong with me? And then in a moment, I recoiled and thought, well, we don't want to go down that route. So I started analyzing in my journal, and that's when it clicked. That's what inspired this entire video. Now let me take you on a journey of why having fewer friends in your late 20s is not just normal, it is exactly what you need. Hey my stars, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Twinkle, and today we are talking about something that's been heavy on my heart. Navigating friendships at 28. Now, as far as I have figured it out, there are only two things that happens to friendships when we approach our late 20s. Number one, the life scatter effect. And number two, the identity evolution. Remember when everyone lived within a 5-mile radius during college or school days? You could have literally called a friend anytime you would have wanted. But now at the age of 28, my friends are literally scattered all across the globe. One is crushing in her healthcare career in Finland. Another is showing up to his corporate in Middle East. And my childhood bestie? She's deep into her career as a government officer with a strict schedule. Here's something nobody warns you about. Between the age of 25 and 30, you go through a massive identity shift. I was a huge extrovert. I used to talk to anyone and everyone I wanted to in my early 20s. But then something shifted in me. The person who loved bar hopping every weekend now prefers a self-care Saturday and a quiet Sunday brunch. This sometimes makes me think that I might have read too much of Bukowski, wherein he said that
people drain him and he has to get a way to recharge himself.
That's me in my late 20s. But the truth is, your values change, your priorities change, and sometimes the friendships that you have had just don't fit anymore. Now let me break it down to you what friendship actually looks like at the age of 28. Average working hours, 45 to 50 hours per week. Relationship time, if you're dating or married, 15 to 20 hours per week. Family obligations, 5 to 10 hours per week. Self-care and essential tasks, 15 to 20 hours per week. Sleep, 56 hours per week. Now this leaves us with nothing. So where exactly is this magical friendship time supposed to come from? The truth is, we all don't have time in our late 20s. But does that mean that we should absolutely abandon the hope of having friends at all? Not really. Now let's talk about what actually matters in terms of friendship when you are in your late 20s. I have exactly 3 types of friends. Number 1, the soul sisters. Maximum 2 to 3 people fit in this category. With these people, you might talk once in a month, but the conversations are very deep. They know all your fears, dreams, and embarrassing stories. Distance doesn't matter with these people. These friends share the same values and same visions as you do. So it is easier to communicate things with them. Number 2, the activity buddies. 3 to 4 people can fit into this category. These are the people you share specific interests with. For example, you can meet them for yoga, for workout, for co-working sessions, for a coffee catch-up, something like that. These meetings are light, they're fun, and they don't impose pressure on you. For me, these are mostly my sisters-in-law because I spend most of my chill time with them and it is easier to build a habit with them. And number 3, the history keepers. Only 1 or 2 childhood friends are gonna fit into this category, no more. But if you're lucky, maybe you might have more. These are the friends that might not talk to you for months, but they exactly know when you had your braces. These are the friends with whom you don't need to explain yourself. Like that entire friendship bond doesn't need any explanation. And funny enough, I only have 2 friends who would fit into this category. Both of them, different genders, different profiles, different industries, born on same exact date, and they both live abroad. But the beauty of talking to them is that they have different versions of me in their head. And whenever I talk to them, if I need clarity from my own past version, they are the exact mirror that I need looking into. Now you might be wondering, why do we even have to put our friends into this category? I know this might sound funny and a little bit tacky, but these categories actually help you a lot. Let me share a vulnerable moment with you. Last month I was going through a really tough time, personally and professionally. And instead of scrolling through my entire contact list, I reached out to one of my history keeper friends. We had a 3-hour long video call, and the amount of clarity and happiness that I just gained after that call is unmatched. Had I gone to a different category friend for the same reason, I might not have ended up satisfied after the conversation. And that is why it is important to at least have these categories in your head, to at least know that who are your history keeper friends, who are the friends who are good to build a habit or an activity with, and who are the friends that you can categorize as your soul sisters. But if you don't have anyone to fit into this category, I want you to do a friendship reset right now with me. Here's what I want you to do if you're feeling lonely. press that friendship reset button. And I bet it will help you gain so much clarity about your social connections. Number 1, audit your expectations. Let's be really honest with ourselves here. Are you missing actual friendship, or are you just missing the idea of friendship? The idea of friendship is something that is just put into our heads with those Pinterest pictures and those reels on Instagram. Do you want friends because you genuinely crave connection, or is society imposing it on you? What do you exactly miss? Do you miss daily texts, deep conversations, or something that you can go to a workout with? Because when I was doing this activity, here's what I realized. I was craving deep and meaningful conversations, but I kept accepting the surface level coffee dates, which eventually made me feel emptier. So that is why it is so important to write down exactly what you are missing. Be specific with it. Then check your energy levels. I always talk about this, and I want you to grab a notebook for this exercise. So here's what you're gonna do. List down all your social interactions. Mark the ones which makes you feel energized versus drained. Ask yourself, are you putting the efforts into the relationships that constantly disappoint you? Ask yourself, do you constantly say yes to group hangouts when all you crave is just one-on-one conversation? And also, are you maintaining friendships out of guilt or out of habit? And now let me share another personal example with you. There was a time in my life when I used to say yes to all the plans because I was just so afraid of ending up being alone. But then I'd come home exhausted, feeling like I've just given a performance and I'm not connected with anyone. And that's when I just realized that I need to be more selective with my time. And so do you. And then create a friendship blueprint. Yes, you have to do it. This is where things will really get intentional. And here's what your blueprint should include. What meaningful friendship looks like. How often do you communicate? What kind of support do you need? What activities do you want to share? What values must align? And with all of that, have some non-negotiables for maintaining these friendships. For example, respect your boundaries, reciprocate the effort in maintaining a friendship, shared value on important aspects of life, behavior while showing up during the tough times, the way your friend or you speak about others, and the attitude towards growth and success. That is so important. For me, a big non-negotiable with my friend circle was how they reacted to my success. I have had friends who would diminish my achievements, or they would make passive-aggressive comments about it. But now I genuinely look and attract people who celebrate my achievements with me. Remember, this blueprint isn't about being picky, it's about being intentional, so don't let anyone guilt trap into that. It is about making the flowers bloom and cutting out the weeds. But hey, if you think that you still lack friends in your late 20s and you would want to make new friends, you would want to expand your circle, then let me share with you what actually works. Because I experiment a lot and I have tried everything. From awkward meetups to randomly complimenting people in the coffee shop, which does not go well, by the way. Don't do that. It's weird. Number 1, join interest-based communities. This has been a game changer for me, and here's why it works. When you look for workshops or actual hands-on activities, for example, cooking classes, pottery workshops, these activities forces interaction naturally. But the key here is in choosing something that you genuinely enjoy, and that is where you will find people who share the same interest as you do. So let's say worst case scenario, you're not going to make a best friend in those activities. You can still have fun with like-minded people. Then you can also join online communities in your field. This is exactly why I created my female-led community called the Becoming Collective. It's this amazing community with amazing environment wherein we meet every weekend. And the most beautiful thing about it is that we all share the same intention. It is the genuine connection that we're trying to build with each other. It is not forced networking. It is the vibe of growing together as a women. During our first meeting, I remember we all showed up with this nervous energy, but by the end of it, we all left feeling so enthusiastic and so excited. That is the power of intentional communities. And here are certain pointers that you need to keep in mind while building friendships and relationships online. Number 1, be intentional with the invites. This is where most people get it wrong. They wait for group hangouts but refrain themselves from reaching out to an individual one-on-one. But when you think about it, when was the last time you had a meaningfully deep conversation with someone in a group call? You never do that, right? So you have to reach out to a person individually. And for that, you need to have one-on-one personalized and specific invites for that person. For example, if you met them on an online community, reach out to them, appreciate a point that they might have discussed in the previous meeting, and then at the end of your message, you can simply ask them if they would be available for a coffee chat. This way, you will also build a good network and also be transparent about your intentions. Now, this Instagram app Threads is doing a wonderful job here, wherein I keep seeing people posting threads that, hey, I'm XYZ, I'm interested in ABC, and I want to connect with people from Delhi or from Mumbai. And I see that a lot of people reach out to them. And I just keep wondering that it is so vulnerable, but yet people are doing it and they're trying to connect with other people. That is the beauty of internet. That is the beauty of being online connected. But in all of that, don't forget to nurture your existing relationships. We all love that newness of a relationship. We all want to know new people, have a vast network, but it will do no good to you if you just let your old connections sit there. So, from time to time, go through your old connections, have a conversation with them, reply to their stories, reply to their post, put a comment out there, or just send them a simple message that, hey, I was doing this, and it reminded me about you. There's another thing that I realized about this topic, that I had this busy schedule as per my calendar, but I was feeling so lonely. And when I looked closer into it, I was spending all my energy into making new connections. And I was literally not picking up the calls of my friends because I just thought that they're just gonna waste my time. And I did not have time to waste. So I understand that sometimes our schedules don't match, and sometimes while you would be focused and working on something deep, your friend might choose to call you. And you might not feel like picking up their call in that exact moment, but that does not mean that you should not call them back. Always make an effort to reciprocate the friendship. That is how you maintain the good ones. Now, here's what I want you to take away from this short video. Having 2 to 3 real friends at 28 is not just okay, it is actually perfect. Your friendship needs will change, and that is beautiful. Learn to accept it. It is better to be occasionally lonely than surrounded by wrong connections. At the end, I'd just like to say, if this video resonated with you, then drop a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you keep seeing my videos on your feed. And also remember that being selective about your circle is not antisocial. It is a basic practice for emotional intelligence. I will see you next time.